welcome back to 10 Things About Writing. Today I'm going to talk about criticism and when to take it and what to do and what not to do when faced with it. Now, nobody likes criticism. You would have to be a saint to enjoy being told that somebody didn't like work that you had put your heart and soul into doing. So it's never fun to get criticism, but it is important to know how to deal with it, because chances are if you're going to share your work, you're going to get some. And the more your work goes to people, the more people read it, the more likely you are to get people coming back and saying things that are negative and disparaging about your work. It is normal. It's part of the way of things in the writing business. And nowadays, when anybody can review a book or a piece of fiction anywhere at all, you're much more likely to get people expressing themselves in this way than you were in the past, when the only reviews that you got were in magazines and newspapers. Now, there are two kinds of criticism. The one is constructive criticism, which affects you directly and which affects what you will do next time directly. And most of the time, constructive criticism will come from your editor, your beta reader, anybody you involve in the editorial process of putting your book together, because those people, they put their input in before your book is finished, before your book is published, before it goes out there to other readers, which is one of the reasons they're so important. These are people that I would expect you to trust. If you don't trust them, then you need to get other people. If you don't trust anybody to criticize your work, then you need to look at yourself, give yourself a good hard think and think, well, is this really something I want to do? Do I want ever to share my work with people? Do I want to put myself in the position where I am going to be criticised at all and by anyone? If the answer's no, then just don't share your work and then you won't get criticised. However, once you have shared your work and it's out there in the world, chances are people will come back and they will talk to other people about what they thought. And hopefully some people will like your work, and very likely some people won't, because everybody has an opinion. Once art is out there in the world, it belongs to anybody who can read it, and they will be able to put any spin or complexion on it that they like, regardless of what you meant when you wrote it, regardless of what you were feeling. Now, not everybody is a natural born reviewer. Not everybody puts across their arguments in a coherent way. Not everybody writes like a critic. This is why some authors just don't go on to review sites. They don't look at their reviews on Goodreads or Amazon because it jars to see them. And it can be upsetting to see that somebody has read your book, has hated it because they didn't understand it, or because they were confused by it, or just because it arrived damaged, which has nothing to do with you. It can be upsetting to see those things. Well, fair enough. It's your choice to read them or not to read them. Sometimes reading reviews can be helpful, particularly if lots of people are saying the same thing about your book. Chances are there is some truth in it, and it might be something that you need to look at in the future. On the other hand, pushing back or lashing out or replying to negative reviewers online is something that no author should be doing. Now, it's something I've done from time to time, not often, but sometimes. It's never a good idea. It really never is, because those reviews are not there for you, the author. You may incidentally benefit from reading something in a review somewhere, but mostly those reviews are not for you. They're for other readers. They're for a community of readers, and I know authors are readers too, but it's not quite the same thing when you're talking about your book. These are people talking to other readers about a book they've read, which they may or may not want to recommend, but it's not a conversation that necessarily needs to involve you, the author. And butting into that conversation is always a dick move. It doesn't matter what your justification is. It doesn't matter if the reviewer has got something terribly wrong. It doesn't matter if the reviewer is being personal about you in a way which you find completely unacceptable. And yes, it is unacceptable. It doesn't matter. The minute you push back, people will remember that you pushed back. They won't remember why. They won't remember that you had a justification. They will just remember that you did something which is generally considered in the business to be a dick move. Don't do that thing. Don't be that person. Do whatever it takes to not intervene. If you've read something upsetting Give yourself a gift, buy yourself a little present, go and do something nice, eat half a pint of ice cream, go for a walk in the woods, bash a cushion for a while. If you feel that you really need to make a gesture, then I always found, particularly with newspaper and magazine reviews, that it was quite cathartic to cut out that review, to put it in the bottom of my cat's litter tray and to let cats shit on it all day. If it's a really bad review, you can laminate it, put it in your cat's litter tray, let cats shit on it forever. You can do the same with an online review. You can print it out, put it in your cat's litter tray, but what you mustn't do is go back to that person and interact with them and tell them they're wrong, even if you think they are, and they may very well be. Because to do that would put you in the wrong. It would make you look as if you were doing something inappropriate, and it's easy to forget a bad review. It's much less easy to forget an incident, an unpleasant spat between a blogger or a reviewer and an author. Those things are what make reputations, not bad reviews. So avoid that at all costs, however justified you think you are, and just move on, because criticism is part of being a writer. And the higher you get up the writing ladder, the more criticism you get. And so in a sense, you can think of that as being a kind of rite of passage. You got a bad review, that meant someone read your book. And remember, opinions, yeah? Everybody has one. You don't necessarily have to respect and pay attention to every single opinion expressed about you or your work. Normally, we only respect the opinions of people we know and respect. The others, if they don't apply to you, you're safe to ignore them. I'm going to go off and enjoy the sunshine now. I hope you do too. Till next time, bye-bye.